they got involved. They made a move. Didn't really think that they would. You subtracted. Okay, you got a 6th-round pick for Donovan Peoples-Jones. Great. Very interesting move for the Cleveland Browns yesterday as they jettisoned Donovan Peoples-Jones out. We sent the clip out this morning, literally on the show yesterday. I said a trade could be just start throwing the ball to Donovan Peoples-Jones. Well, apparently they didn't agree with me. And a 6th-round pick was enough to move Donovan Peoples-Jones on from the Cleveland Browns. The bigger story for me yesterday for the Browns, they didn't make that move for the quarterback. We now know what Josh Dobbs got traded for. We know Washington reportedly was looking for a day 2 pick for Jacoby Brissett. That was that 3rd-round pick that I said was too rich for my blood. And there's a bigger story there, I think, with the Cleveland Browns not making that move for a quarterback. And in a way, it's a positive thing that they didn't go get a quarterback. I know a lot of people wanted one, get you through the interim here, try to get you to the playoffs. Maybe they think Deshaun Watson's closer to being back than not. Then that raises the question, do you want him to play this weekend against the Arizona Cardinals? Cavs were in action last night. Ziegler and Josh McDaniels fired. Ohio State at 1? Did not see that coming. We'll discuss all that. We got Time Hop. We got the morning update. Ryan, I've got an update on the Loch Ness Monster that we will get to at one point. It's the season. We'll get to that.
I could talk about the Loch Ness Monster, Bigfoot, Chupacabra, you name it.
Well, I can only hope that you're a member of the Loch Ness Monster Sightings Registry, which I didn't even know was a thing. We'll tell you about all that. We got you locked and loaded this morning right here on Big Play. Welcome to the show, everybody. I am Matt Fontana. He is Loch Nestor aficionado. Ryan Tyler, good morning. Happy to have you in now into the month of November. Dude, Halloween ends, and I guess it's Christmas. It snows, and we're just off into Christmas now. Thanksgiving just gets no respect, and we're off. Dude, I woke up this morning, I go, where the hell did that snow come from?
I was walking down my stairs, and the way my front door is, like, you can see icy right out of it.
Yeah.
And so I'm looking out the window while I'm walking downstairs, and I paused. And my mom was up too, and I looked to my left. I'm like pinching myself, like I'm dreaming.
Yeah.
I was so mad.
Welcome to Ohio, man. Literally, we've all seen in our life. You will get all 4 seasons in a week. No question about it. And we're now into winter, and welcome to it. Happy November to everybody as we are locked and loaded this morning right here on the Matt Fontana Show. Follow us on Twitter. We're approaching 300 on the Twitter sphere there. We appreciate everybody's support on that. Of course, on Instagram and Facebook as well. So the trade deadline comes and goes for the Browns, and they make a move. Donovan Peoples-Jones, I mean, you weren't throwing the football, you know. I think the question is, did Detroit come calling? Was it known around the league that DPJ was available? And he was not, correct me if I'm wrong, was he not a 6th-round pick? So, okay, you got a 6th-round pick back. And I see the tea leaves, right? You drafted Cedric Tillman to be the next Donovan Peoples-Jones. Donovan Peoples-Jones needs a new contract. I could imagine that he's probably in a position, and I shout out to Jack Duffin of OBR. He had a good take about where Donovan was at through the first 2 years. He was looking at $10 million a year. He was looking at something for a 3 for 33 type deal. And now he's probably going to have to take a 1-year prove-it deal with somebody next year. I don't know what he'll be able to do in the rest of the season with Detroit. But you move on from Donovan Peoples-Jones. Okay, you pick up a 6. Now, here's the thing. You could have had Josh Dobbs for that 6. He was traded yesterday. What did they give up? They gave up Josh Dobbs and a 7 to get Minnesota's 7, which will ultimately become a 6. It's conditional. Dobbs is going to have to play after this week. It'll become a 6. The first thing I thought of on that, what bit you was the NFL schedule. If the Browns were truly invested or truly involved in trying to get a quarterback, there were reasons for Brissett. Okay, the deal was not too. Would you have traded Donovan Peoples-Jones for Josh Dobbs? That is pretty much the trade that you could have had. The 6 that you could have got, you could have flipped that right out the door and went and got Josh Dobbs. What bit you was the schedule. The Cardinals were not going to trade him here when you face them this weekend. Now, say what you want about the Cardinals and their state of the franchise. They're not seeming to win a lot of football games. I understand that. But there's still something to be said about trying to win this weekend and just giving your opponent a quarterback that knows everything about their system. So I think that's what bit not getting Josh Dobbs. The ultimate question remains, though, why didn't the Browns get a quarterback? Why did they not go trade for a quarterback? And I think it probably comes back to the answer. They believe Deshaun Watson will be back sooner rather than later. Now, that statement in itself is just like drilled into Browns fans' head right now, because you have heard that for a month. That, oh, yeah, we expect him back. Oh, yeah, sooner rather than later. But when push came to shove, and it was about making a move, they didn't. And I'm going to choose to believe they didn't, because Watson will be back soon. If you want to read into Brissett was too much, I didn't want to make that trade for a 3. I understand that. And you might make the case that, okay, you weren't going to get Dobbs for a 6 because it was Arizona. You're facing him this week. And Josh Dobbs might be similar to PJ Walker. He might be the same guy, so there's not a huge upgrade there. There's no reason for the Browns to do that. I am going to jump onto and to believe that the Browns didn't make a move because they assumed Deshaun Watson will be back soon. Now, there are reports out that he might not play this weekend again, that they might rest him again and get him fully ready to go for Baltimore next week. Then Mary Kay even said there's even some skepticism in the building that he might not be able to play next week against Baltimore. Then we really start entering I'm not saying I wasn't worried before, Ryan, but like if Deshaun Watson is not on the field one of the next 2 weeks, then I'm going to be really, really, really concerned and really starting to question things. I've been upset. This has been neurotic for all of us. This has been a hard month of football, which is crazy because you have 2 pretty good wins. And you were in that Seattle game. You have put yourself in a really good position without Deshaun Watson playing. So you've been able to kind of mask it. And you've been able to kind of guard against all the other fears. Where I'd really, for the fans out there, like, what is your level of concern with Deshaun Watson right now? And we've asked that question before. I was never on the 5-alarm fire side of things. I was never the sky is falling. I figured they're trying to get a handle on this injury. They'll get him right, and they'll get him back out there. But now we have entered the time for me to really start to be concerned. I'm really going to be concerned if Watson can't play over the next 2 weeks. I want him this weekend. I want Deshaun Watson to play this weekend. And today will be, as we know, one of a few days of importance for the Browns. If he practices today, that would point to he's going to try to play this weekend. If he doesn't practice today, Kevin Stefanski will give, no updates. That's his job. I get that. He won't say anything today, and we'll flip over to Thursday, and we'll ask all the same questions again. Well, Stefanski doesn't speak on Thursday, but then we'll have to wait till Friday to see if Watson's practicing or not. And you've kept it afloat this long. You have kept this team involved. You've kept them in playoff contention to this point. But I just feel like time is running out. And if the Browns would have gone and made a move yesterday, that probably would have signified a bigger issue. And the issue is that Deshaun Watson isn't going to be ready anytime soon. And the question is, do you feel like the Browns could have made the playoffs or would have made the playoffs if they would have had Jacoby Brissett or Josh Dobbs here? And that's under the assumption that Watson will come back at some point this season. I have no reason to believe any other way that Deshaun Watson will play football for the Browns at some point this year. I don't know when. Been waiting on it, and I'm sure the Browns are too. But if you would have gone and made a trade, I think that would have increased your playoff odds. It just is what it is with PJ Walker. Like, that is exactly where we're at for the Browns. Marginal improvement at the cost of a draft pick. That's the balance that Andrew Berry was playing yesterday. And he didn't pull the trigger. And I'm just going to assume that that is because they believe their franchise quarterback is coming back soon. And even if they want to operate that Sunday's game, if you lose, which they damn well better not, but even if you lost that, you are 4-4. You're on the way out with 9 games to go. And I would ask you to win 6 of those 9 games, which is a lot. 10 is the number. You have got to get to 10 wins. You want to make the playoffs, you got to get to 10. That's the number. I don't think you're squeaking in at 9-8. So you have to get me to 10 wins the rest of this season. One of them should be this weekend. And that is how that flip goes, right? If you can get to 5-3 and 9 games to go, then you open yourself up, say, all right, we only got to go 5-4 the rest of the way. That's a lot easier with, again, you assume Watson coming back as opposed to you fall Sunday. That's why Sunday is just such a pivotal game. It is so important. Then the other question, would they have traded for somebody sooner had they had a better handle on what Deshaun Watson's injury was? And I don't know the answer to that, right? Because I don't know if the Browns do either. If you had come out a month ago and told them, hey, Deshaun Watson's going to be out for 5 games, was PJ Walker always going to be your answer? And I'll tell you, the Browns, as we know, they didn't plan on that because they got Watson back for that Colts game. And they assumed that he was going to be back and good to go. And here we are yet again. Then you factor in if he gets hurt again and you got to turn it back to PJ Walker. There are people that wanted to trade yesterday, Ryan, just for the backup. Just because there is no guarantee that you can live with Deshaun Watson the rest of the year because he might get hurt again. I've seen it too many times, too. Yeah. I'm sorry to put this out there in the world, in the ethos, if you will. How many times do you see a guy come back, fought through an injury, and then something else happens the very first game? Remember Jack Conklin? Came back after that dislocated elbow. Was it the first game that he tore his knee up again? That's just sometimes how football goes. And I hope that doesn't happen. I really do. But there's something you got to battle with Deshaun Watson for the rest of the year. So the Browns all but stand pat. Okay, they trade away Donovan Peoples-Jones. Talk about that for a second. The guy had, 8 receptions in 6 games, 5 games, well, he played in all the games, so 6 games. 7 games. Math. Great job. He became expendable. And I think Cedric Tillman being injured, he is now going to have to be the one to step up in this role. You know what I'm saying? What are you missing with Donovan Peoples-Jones? You weren't throwing him the football. Okay. And we wish Donovan Peoples-Jones the best. You know, he was a good player here, great guy. And they weren't throwing him the football. Time to move. If somebody wants somebody on your team you're not even throwing the football to, you're going to make that trade. So they make the move. And yesterday's NFL trade deadline, which is a good reminder for all of us, it never lives up to the hype. It never does. NBA trade deadline is one thing. You know, baseball is kind of okay, whatever. The NFL trade deadline, don't ever fall for the hype. You get a couple of trades here and there. It's really off-season moves that are the ones that you look at and you say, okay, that's where the big moves happen. The NFL trade deadline always becomes a dud. And I've got nothing for that trade. If anything now, okay, you're going to start throwing the ball to Elijah Moore a little bit more. Maybe you get Marquise Goodwin. Cedric Tillman's time is now. But I did think it was also... Did Deshaun Watson ever seem to get on the same page with Donovan Peoples-Jones?
This year, no.
And especially even like last year, right? Donovan Peoples-Jones' best times here was with Baker Mayfield. And I'm not trying to make this as a Baker versus Watson thing, but these are type of... I'm just going to speak honest, everybody, for a minute. This seemed like a move that this guy just doesn't mesh with our franchise quarterback. There's nothing wrong with that. But, like, he was on an expiring deal. He was going to be a free agent at the end of the year. But it's like... I guess... As the Browns are going to be entering a playoff stretch, would Donovan Peoples-Jones not be a helpful player for that? Like, if you had to ask me the question, did you like the trade of Donovan Peoples-Jones? I didn't. I frankly didn't. And maybe we'll post that as our Twitter question this morning at Matt Fontana Show. Did you like the Browns trading away Donovan Peoples-Jones? Yes or no? And I got to tell you, I don't think I do. Because I know you have to start recouping some of these picks. And you got to start adding back to the well that was decimated when you went and traded for Donovan Peoples-Jones, sure, but don't forget you traded for Elijah Moore. You traded for Zadarius Smith. You're missing a couple other picks. I guess a sixth-round pick for me, which we don't know how it plays out, because that's always I use kind of like the Donovan Mitchell approach, right? Where technically Kyrie Irving was a part of you getting Donovan Mitchell, right? Because if you follow, okay, you traded for Kyrie, and then you got this pick that turned into Colin Sexton, and then Colin Sexton was part of the group that you went and got Donovan Mitchell with. These picks move and they trade all around, all that kind of stuff. So the story is not written. And if the Browns go draft some all-pro player with the 6th-round pick they got for Donovan Peoples-Jones, I'll shut my mouth. I'll go back and say, all right, what an idiot. But at this moment, you picked up a 6th-round pick, which will do nothing for you the rest of this season for a guy that I feel like can contribute or could have contributed on your team. So I see the one side of it. You weren't throwing him the football. He was missing in action on offense, not by his own fault, I don't think. Somebody called, they wanted him. Okay, you move on. But I also have a belief that you are going to start throwing the football more when Deshaun Watson gets back. And if you want to tell me about the weather that we woke up with this morning and see, okay, sure. But make no mistake, when Deshaun Watson comes back, would you not want as many offensive weapons as you can get? And I just have a hard time not connecting the dots to say that maybe DPJ just didn't work with Deshaun Watson. And that's not me trying to stir drama up. That's not me reporting on a source to say that they had some problem. No, it's just my eyes. Like when I watch, and yeah, Watson had a lot of problems in the games that even when he played, right? But it was just a little bit of a confusing move to me. If you're going to make this push for the playoffs, why wouldn't you want Donovan Peoples-Jones a part of that? And especially for a 6. For a 6. I'd almost flip that. If the Browns were in the position that they're in and didn't have Donovan Peoples-Jones, I might trade a 6 to get him here. Is it a victim of this, like PJ Walker? We had the clip yesterday. PJ Walker, you can't expect him to distribute the football equally. You can't expect him to get the football all around to everybody. So Donovan Peoples-Jones took a hit. You know who I expected to distribute the football properly? Deshaun Watson. And I would have expected that Donovan Peoples-Jones had a little uptick in productivity when Watson got back in there. But then they traded him away. And I like Cedric Tillman as much as the next guy. And maybe that is truly the reason behind this. That they have seen in practice, because they haven't been on the field, still Tillman's been battling an injury here and there. Maybe it's now time for Cedric Tillman to get some run. And you just couldn't do that with Donovan Peoples-Jones here. And this is unfair of me, but this is how I feel. Is that GMs, I think in all sports, they have a paralyzing fear of letting a guy walk away without getting anything in return. And you, me, and everybody knows that Donovan Peoples-Jones was probably going to leave the Cleveland Browns this offseason. Okay? He was going to be in line for a contract. You had your replacement in Cedric Tillman. But is it that bad? I would have preferred to have Donovan Peoples-Jones here for the rest of the season, especially for a 6th-round pick. For just a 6? That's it? That pick does nothing for me. And you are now in a pivotal year to try to make a run at it. And you traded away a guy that I think could have contributed. Maybe they feel differently. Maybe that's the reason that they felt so good about it, Ryan, was because there was no world that Donovan Peoples-Jones was going to be able to fit in on this offense. And I can't buy that. I just can't. So you trade him away for a 6.
Well, it's weird, Matt, because obviously we know that stat. What was it, 8 catches on the season so far? But when you go look at his snaps and the plays he's ran routes, it's like leading the Browns receivers.
He does not come off the field.
So I wonder if it's a behind-the-scenes frustration thing between Peoples-Jones and the staff, or if it's, he's not going to re-sign with us, and let's cut our losses and get what we can.
Right, and I'm sure that was the mindset. I'm sure that is exactly what they were thinking. We're not getting this guy the football, and he's going to leave at the end of the year. Let's not grab some. I guess did you ever, not you, the proverbial, did you ever think that it might change over the next 6 games? And that comes back to Deshaun Watson. And maybe they just felt like this was not the move to be made. It's perplexing. And it's not that I'm up in arms for a guy that they weren't throwing the football to. I just thought they were going to start throwing him the football. This puts a lot of pressure on Elijah Moore now. This puts a lot of pressure on Cedric Tillman because of what I envision this offense being. You are going to throw the football. And whenever Watson gets back, I think that will be the flip. And I would just think that you'd want as many pass catchers here as you could get. When your run game is not what you expected it to be with the loss of Nick Chubb, you know what? I guess I got to give them the benefit of the doubt that they have the plan.
It's all right, Matt. We have James Proche now on the practice squad.
Yeah, they made a lot of practice squad moves the other day.
Kenyon Drake,
which is interesting. I mean, that's my thing. You don't have a luxury of just a lot of offensive weapons, and you gave one away for nothing. For nothing. And I'll eat these words one day. In 2 years, or probably 3 is how long it's going to take. They drafted somebody with that pick that's an all-pro. Maybe I'll have to come back, and that's fine. I'll do it at that point. I just don't see it right now. And what message does that send to the team?
Well, so Matt, I'm glad you said that because I was going to bring this up too. Like, if you're somebody like Miles, right, you're in your prime, do you feel like how much stock I'm sure it's a lot, do you put into the front office just mismanaging the situation and you just feel like you're wasting away here in Cleveland?
Well, I've always had that thought of like, yeah, you are wasting prime years of some of your best players. And we know through the history of the Browns, they wasted Joe Thomas's career and they wasted a good chunk of Joe Hayden, our friend Josh Cribbs. That's the tough part of it. So you are supposed to be competing, right? With what you invested into Watson, what you have put on this team, you are meant to compete, and they are. You are not 2-6 at this point. You are in this thing. And for a six.
Matt, if you're, how much do you think the front office? Obviously, this isn't some LeBron GM type thing, but if you're the front office, right, you're Andrew Barry, Stefanski, do you communicate with Miles specifically and give him reasons for, like, in your thought process of why you're doing things to try and maybe ease that pain?
I think the only one that deserves an answer is, or I don't know if deserves, but the only one is the quarterback. And like as a team, it is just Donovan Peoples-Jones.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They didn't trade away Amari Cooper.
Right.
They didn't trade away Denzel Ward. But, like, if I'm in that locker room, yeah, I'm just looking at it as this is a guy that maybe we need to stop our thought process right here, Ryan. And maybe we need to have this flip. Maybe Donovan Peoples-Jones isn't good. Maybe. Like, let me go down that path for just a second. This is coming from somebody who I think Donovan is good. But let's just sit here and say, maybe he's not good. And that's why they traded him. And that's what maybe the locker room knows better than us. They see him in practice. They see the games. And they're just not getting, like, maybe that's it. And that is palatable. That's easy. You traded away a guy you don't think is very good. Okay, fine. And you acquired this piece. But as you can tell as I talk through this, I just don't buy that. I just don't understand that. And especially if you get a 3, okay, now we're talking a different story. You get a 3, that's a 6 for a guy that I thought could have contributed. And it'll bring up what? The trades of Andrew Barry. And I'm not going to run through and grade all of them. And there's hits and misses. That's find me a general manager that's batting 1,000. You can't. So there's always going to be hits and misses. And time will tell the story on this. Like, I don't want to sit here and overreact to you traded away arguably your 4th pass catcher at this point for a 6th-round pick. If I just wrote that as the headline, Browns trade their 4th pass catcher for a 6th-round draft pick, you go, well, what are you freaking out about? Shut up. Who cares? But when I look at the bigger picture of what the rest of this season is, I question it. I'm sorry, I do. And maybe it's not that big of a deal in the locker room, and this is something that's business and you move forward on, but I thought you wanted more pass catchers here when Deshaun Watson came back. And this trade is in no way a punting of the season. This is in no way a remark of where the Browns think they're at. I guarantee you, Andrew Berry got the call. He said, you know what? We're really not throwing him the football. You need him. You want to give him a 6? Sure. Because I did see tweets about this. Like, oh, they just wanted to let Donovan Peoples-Jones go somewhere. I will tell you that no general manager in the NFL gives a damn about that. Yeah. Nobody is. We're going to just let this guy go. They almost traded away Joe Thomas. They don't care. The general managers are cold-blooded. That's how they have to operate. And they trade away DPJ. I don't like it. I voted no, Ryan. Cast your vote. Did you like the trading of Donovan Peoples-Jones? I didn't like it.
I don't know if I really want to cast a vote. I feel like I'm indifferent. Like, I like the player too in the sense of where no, I don't think he was bad, but maybe he was. But at the same time, it's like, okay, trade away a guy you're not even getting the football to. I don't know. Throw Cedric Tillman in there. He gets more snaps. See what you have in him. And at the very least, you weren't throwing Donovan the ball anyway. So are you really losing anything at that point? No, I guess let's go see what Cedric can do.
I just assumed that in the remaining I keep forgetting, we're 4-3. We have 9 games left. I would just assume that in the next 9 games that Donovan Peoples-Jones was going to score a touchdown. You know who's not going to score a touchdown? The college player that you're going to take with that 6th-round pick come next year. And if you want to say that touchdown could have come in meaningless garbage time in a game that you were already going to lose, I guess. Yeah. I thought I didn't have a problem with it. I thought it didn't really bother me, but the more I kind of peel back the onion a little bit, the more I question why. Did you really need to?
No, on Twitter, no has the early lead.
Yeah, early lead. Vote at Matt Fontana Show. Drop us a follow there. We'll get to all that. We'll dive into the Cavs, Ohio State a little bit. Big news out of the NFL is the Raiders both fired Josh McDaniels and Dave Ziegler in one fell. So,
can we fire Mark Davis?
Dude, he's so bad. He's so bad. And owners will never fire themselves. The crazy thing is that he let them finish out the trade deadline because now you are in a full rebuild. And now you know you're getting old because Antonio Pierce, like a player I watched play, is now the head coach. And there's players all over the place that are coaches now, but still. So he's the interim. But it's the fact that they sacked the GM and the coach on the same day. And there are all these things that apparently they were, even after a win, after the Packers win, Mark Davis went out and had some blow-up meeting with Josh Mann. So they all knew that they were on the hook. He signed, dude, a 6-year deal. 6 years. He's got 4 years left on that deal.
Who does?
Josh McDaniels.
Holy crap.
Josh McDaniels.
I guess that's what happens when you're a friend of Belichick.
Will he ever get another head coaching opportunity? I don't think so.
No.
Oh, you brought Belichick up because Ziegler's off that tree too.
That's what I'm saying.
Are we ready to say what the truth is? Don't hire Nick Saban people and don't hire Bill Belichick people.
Joe Judge.
Sir, like Matt Patricia, Joe Judge, Dave Ziegler. I mean, Nick Casario's got a little time to go. Like, Nick Casario's off that tree, is he not? I think he is. Who's the other? Scott Pioli. Nick Casario. He's off that tree, is he not? He went to John Carroll. Maybe that's where I'm... No, he was there. Nick Casario, Patriots, I thought. Another John Carroll guy. Do you know Ziegler, McDaniels, and Nick Casario were all at John Carroll at the same time? I think they all played on the same football team together. Isn't that a little crazy? Maybe it's John Carroll's fault. As a proud Baldwin Wallace alum, yeah, it's your fault. Blue streaks. But it's like, even with Saban, too, right? Like, Bill O'Brien crosses both of those now. He's been up in New England. He's been down there in Alabama. But you even look at all the... Kirby Smart has worked out. I'll give you that one.
But it's also college.
It's a little different. But it tells you, stay away from the Belichick tree. Because not many of those guys ever pan out. Ever. And McDaniels, I mean, he was here on my last show, Ryan. We had something called Fans with Sources. And I would put out to the great Cleveland sports fans, they're out and about. When you see something, let us know. We had somebody call us one time and tell us that Josh McDaniels' wife was eating breakfast at Gene's Place in West Park. I could walk to Gene's Place from my house. I love Gene's Place. It's the best. It's nostalgia. All their meals are like, You can go in there and order the Judy Garland. You can go order the Errol Flynn. Like all their entrees have names of old actors and actresses. I love Jean's Place. It's great. So I'm not knocking if she was there or not. We had somebody call us and say, no, Josh McDaniels' wife is eating breakfast at Jean's Place because Josh is or down the road at 237, down the road at the facility, and he's signing a deal to coach the Cleveland Browns. We had somebody call and tell us that years ago. Seriously. And obviously it didn't work out. But McDaniels, I mean, he kept getting bites at the apple here. That's it. You get 2 trips through the buffet line, man, and you're done. So I would assume that that's all she wrote for Josh McDaniels. What will he do? He'll go running back to Belichick. Maybe he can go fix their offense this year. Maybe that's it. I'm assuming he's free to go sign with anybody he wants. Ziegler go back. It tells you to beware. Honestly, the path that I was going to go with that, with the firing McDaniels and Ziegler, because it doesn't really mean anything to the Browns. But it's a good reminder, right, for the Stefanski people, for the anti-Stefanski people. And I'm not saying he's been perfect. I know he's not been perfect. But the grass is not always greener. And I just always ask this question. If you want executive coach X fired, that's fine. Who are you going to replace them with?
Maybe we should let's go get Bill Belichick's son.
Steven? I licked the mic. I'm sorry. God bless it.
Bruce was using that.
Son of a gun. Oh, my God.
It's like that.
Can we get mic screens in here, please?
It's like that Rudy Gobert when he went and touched every microphone. Matt might be out tomorrow.
Probably because of my kids more than anything. Dude, this thing is disgusting. Could we please get mic screens in here?
Mics are some of the most contagious things.
Hell yeah, they are. Trust, dude, I've been in radio my whole life. I will tell you, there's a lot of germs right around here.
Let's play Fear Factor. Go lick it.
No. But yeah, Steven Belichick. He's a weird cat, man. He's a weird cat. But if you want to fire somebody, sure. It's all about who you are going to bring in to replace them. It could go better. It could go worse. It's the only thing I'm going to bring up when it comes to the Kevin Stefanski thing. And like, I don't know. When the Raiders hired Josh McDaniels, there was like actual optimism there. And then what happened? So here's the other part. Just to talk about the Raiders for a second. We'll get into Ohio State coming up here in a minute too. Think about what the Raiders did. They brought in McDaniels and Ziegler. Okay. They traded for Devontae Adams. But then they detonate it and send Carr on his way. They spend this money, which seems to be bad money spent on Garoppolo, and then you miss the trade deadline where you could have traded Devontae Adams.
Yeah. Oh my God.
You know what I mean? Think about that. You let these guys, you kept them on the hook for this long, probably knowing you were going to fire him. Here's a question.
And they gave Jacobs the deal this year. They gave him like $12 million.
Well, I mean, he's going to leave. Right. You could have traded. Why Mark Davis, who again is continually in the ranking of the worst owner in football, maybe the worst owner in sports.
He got that ring with the Aces.
Congratulations to him, right? Good for him. But like, look at Josh Harris. Josh Harris is now the owner of the Washington Commanders. What did he do? Nope, out of here. Montez Sweat, Chase Young gone. What a day he had too. Traded James Harden one day, next day, or same day. It's all yesterday, was it not? It was. And they're approaching this, like reportedly, this analytics approach that they're pushing all. God, oh man, have we lived through those wars here? And an owner comes in, and it's the smart thing to do. Clean it out. This comes from somebody who has lived it, man. Half-ass rebuilds never work. Clean house. Quarterback, coaches, players. The only option that you have is to completely clear it out and bring in new people to then maximize your picks. The Raiders messed up. They should have fired Josh McDaniels, or they played Monday night, didn't they? Yeah, that's why. They should have fired him Monday night, and then come Tuesday, Davis walks in and go, you're trading Devontae Adams. We're trading Josh Jacobs. I mean, you want to keep Max Crosby because he's on a deal. I guess you got to keep some players, but clean it out. Now you're going to have a pissed off Devontae Adams the rest of the season.
It's personal for me, man. He's on my fantasy team.
Well, I'm sorry for your fantasy
Personal
team.
for me. In no way, shape, or form, I don't care. I could go play quarterback. Devontae Adams should never have a stat line of 1 reception, 11 yards.
I'm more concerned about the target. I mean, they try to throw to him. It just doesn't.
Yeah, I mean, he had like 7 targets, but it's like, God.
So that's the lesson to be learned, right? Is like if you and I'm not saying that they deserve to keep their jobs there and they had to make the move, but just keep that in mind. And so they make that. It was just so many missteps there by the Raiders, and now they're out. Now they're out of coach and a GM. All right, let's come back. Let's catch a break. We'll update our Twitter question this morning. Do you like the Browns' trade of Donovan Peoples-Jones? We'll get to that. We got to talk Ohio State. I did not see them coming in at number 1, but Heather Dinich has an idea about why they became at number 1. We'll talk a little Cavs. I lost some credits on Tipico, as we know.
I told you, man.
Yeah, we know. But is there a bigger question surrounding the Cavs right now? And are you maybe even borderline concerned just 4 games into the season about where the Cavs are at? We'll get to that coming up as well. Dude, more of this Michigan stuff. Did you see that Central Michigan picture? Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Scrap the break. We're not going to break. Let me tell you about Tipico. I love Tipico. You love Tipico. Everybody loves Tipico. Use that code BIGPLAY150 when you sign up. Get your bonus bets. They're still there rocking for all of our new customers. The boosts are there. We'll get to our Major League Baseball bets for tonight. Of course, I lost a little on the wine and gold there last night, but that's all right. We'll get our baseball bets tonight with Tipico. Download the app. The other thing that a lot of people enjoy with Tipico are, obviously, as we know, the futures bets. Any feel on Chet Holmgren now winning Rookie of the Year over Victor Wembanyama? There are people in the NBA circles that feel like that's what's going to happen.
That's what I said was going to happen. That's exactly what I said was going to happen.
Go to the NBA. Go to futures. Go to awards. Rookie of the Year. Holmgren still plus 220.
What's Wemby?
Minus 170.
But here's the thing. Like, are we really, like, is it really come as that much of a surprise to people? Go look at what happened with Ben Simmons, okay? Like, he came back and was technically a rookie, even though, because of the injury, they still consider you a rookie. And obviously, Wemby's going to be way better than Ben Simmons. By any means, am I not saying that? But it's really not that shocking, right? Like, Chet is, like, honestly, he's on a better team, so that, for one, is you're going to get better numbers, more likely. It just doesn't, it's not that big of a surprise to me that he might win it.
Sorry, I'm on Tipico. Big play 150. Defensive player of the year. Evan Mobley is second at plus 620.
Who's first? Claxton?
Jaren Jackson.
Oh.
What's plus 520?
What's Nick Claxton? Is he on there?
Plus 2,500.
Wow.
Thinking about it there. I think you can go ahead and fade Joel Embiid as MVP at plus 850. I think you can fade that just a little bit. Get to Tipico. Place your bets. We're rock and roll with our friends at Tipico. Michigan, dude. Let's get right to that story. So I tweeted this out yesterday. That apparently this, what's his first name again? Stallions? Connor Stallions. If you know the Michigan story, he was stealing signs. He's been all over the place. They apparently, allegedly, have him at Central Michigan for their game against Michigan State earlier this year, and his disguise is horrible. I think it was a night game. He had sunglasses on, this horrible goatee, and he is wearing Central Michigan apparel. And apparently that was him. Not him trying to call into our show. That was him on the sidelines. What in the hell is going on? And then Jim McElwain, who's the head coach at Central Michigan, which, by the way, has ties to Michigan, apparently didn't know who was on the sidelines. It's getting deep, man. It's getting weird. So all that other stuff, be damned, right? Take out for a second that he bought these tickets to go to these other games, that he was apparently digitally and using the video, which you're not supposed to do to steal the signs. If you can prove that he dressed in a disguise to get on the sidelines, which the other part of this would that not be illegal in his acquisition of those sideline credentials? How did he get those credentials? Then you follow that path down. That is the type of stuff that I think will sink Michigan. As I've said, the shift seems to be that this might be a slap on the wrist for Michigan, that everybody was stealing signs, and that's part of college football. They should just put the radio in the helmet. It is honestly the stupidest thing ever. But if you're now starting to say that, like, this guy's dressing up in horrible disguises, by the way, to get on the sidelines of other games, I feel like that takes it to some other level that we didn't even think was possible in this whole damn thing.
I don't know, Matt. He looks pretty. Oh,
you have it up? Thank you. Right, pull it up. Thank you. That's him. The sunglasses, the hat, the Central Michigan hat.
The goatee.
The horrible goatee. He even looks menacing. Just in a... What's going on? What's going on? You're like, and also,
I wonder if he had those glasses.
Oh, they'd have been better.
The camera.
The only thing that would have been better if it was a fake mustache or a wig. What if you went Billy Manziel and put the wig on? A blonde, flowing mullet wig. Dude, this is insane. That looks like a Halloween costume and a bad one. And this guy was on the sidelines of Central Michigan stealing signs, and nobody said anything. How did nobody from Central Michigan go, who the hell is that?
Why are you like scouting Central Michigan?
They were playing Michigan State.
Oh,
he had to steal the signs from Michigan State.
Okay.
That's why he was there.
So he just like found his way through.
Seriously. And then now, is Central Michigan an accomplice in this whole thing? Let me look this up, because Jim McElwain's got a tie to Michigan, I think. Pretty sure.
Didn't AB go to Central Michigan?
Andrew Berry?
No, Antonio Brown.
Oh, Antonio Brown, yeah. Let's say Andrew Berry is an Ivy League educator. Don't do. No offense to Central Michigan, you don't do that to Andrew Berry. Oh yeah, Jim McElwain was the Michigan wide receivers coach back in 2018. But was Harbaugh there?
Good gravy.
He had to have been. Yeah, he was. Jim McElwain.
Come on.
I just remember him coaching Florida. A disaster he was at Florida. What's his record all time at Florida?
I feel like Connor Stallions, it's one of those like, where's Waldo? You just go look at the games and you have to find him on the sideline.
Jim McElwain went 22-12 at Florida and they fired him. He had a 10-4 and 9-4 season, then started 2017 3-4 and they fired him. Did he do something there? No, just got fired for Will Muschamp, because that didn't work out either. Man, Will Muschamp is coaching Georgia. He's on the defensive side of Georgia. What a staff they have down there. Just, this is, like, it's, like, I saw that, and I go, this is insane. And I don't know how much it factored into Michigan, with the college football playoff poll or anything like that, but, like, dude, that crazy. So let's get to the poll. Ohio State comes out at 1. Georgia, Michigan, Florida State are the top 4. Washington 5, Oregon 6. I'll tell you, those 6 teams being the top 6 is not my issue. I don't say issue. It's just the ranking. And Heather Dinich wrote it this morning on ESPN. Basically, how in the hell did Ohio State get to 1? They value the 2 top wins.
Yeah, that's exactly
Notre Dame and Penn State. College football playoff chair Boo Corrigan said of the Buckeyes in ESPN's ranking release show, quote, "We looked at it, the big win over Notre Dame and the win over Penn State. They have different makers on offense." Thank you, Marvin Harrison Jr., because we know it in Common Court. Travion Henderson and Marvin Harrison got you the #1 ranking in college football. Do you want to know what that screams to my head, Ryan?
What's that?
Marvin Harrison's winning the Heisman. As I got a little futures bet there on Tipico for Marvin Harrison to be the Heisman winner. Tell me, literally, the College Football Playoff Committee chair said yesterday that they have difference makers on offense. That is Marvin Harrison. So when they put Ohio State at 1, it's because they beat Penn State and Notre Dame and because of Marvin Harrison Jr. Isn't that something? How incredible is that? To have that be a factor. Good for him. Thank God they got him. Whoever, I'm assuming Heartline. Well done for him. By the way, should we be on Heartline watch? Do you think he's going to leave after this season?
Well, I remember when Fickle left Cincy, he was a candidate for the head coach job.
Oh, yeah, he's been a candidate before.
So
I'm saying...
I remember during that process, he said, like, oh, I'm not going anywhere. Like, I love Ohio State. I went to school here. But I kind of thought at the time maybe that was just, oh, he didn't get the job, so now I'm going to just say like, oh, I'm never leaving. So I don't know, though.
Buckeyes have played a much stronger schedule than Georgia. 2 top 15 victories over Penn State and Notre Dame. Georgia has no top 25 victories and a strength of schedule that ranks number 100 in college football. Michigan is actually number 111 in strength of schedule. And, of course, we know those metrics will change. Georgia's got Ole Miss coming up. They've got Missouri, and they have Tennessee. All of those teams are ranked in the top 20. And, of course, Michigan has number 11 Penn State and number 1 Ohio State remaining on the schedule. This is coming from a Buckeyes fan, where I'm happy they're number 1. And you want to know what? They're going to keep that number 1 ranking, probably. Although, here's the flip. If they're going to sit here today and say that they value the top 25 wins, well, if Georgia goes out and beats Missouri and beats Ole Miss, those are top 25 wins. I could see them flipping. How important are the rankings, too? Because, like, we know sometimes the 1-4 matchup is the better one. Go see last year, right? You know that is sometimes better. So the rankings are important to a point. Like, I'm not just going to throw them away and just say, hey, get to the top 4. I think they actually matter. But Ohio State is now in the driver's seat, where they should stay there going up onto the Michigan game. And Michigan and Georgia, they have a chance to kind of remedy their situation in the coming weeks. This is coming from an Ohio State fan. I don't think Notre Dame or Penn State are very good. I don't. Okay. And yeah, they were 11-15, or they are at this point. They were higher when you played them. But when I watch those games, and maybe this is more of an issue with me about how I feel about Ohio State, where I watch Ohio State, and what are we all screaming? Oh, they're not very good. Kyle McCord's not very good. Like, what are we watching? They're number 1. They're number 1. And we are all sitting here, myself included, going, well, wait a minute here. And I think it's a spoil of riches. This is not an offense with Ezekiel Elliott and Michael Thomas and Braxton Miller. And when you just had all of these guys, when you go back to the Urban Meyer teams, even some of the Jim Tressel teams, forget about how freaking good some of those offenses were for Tressel, who loved nothing more than the punt, which is ironic. But you look at it, it's not quite the same. Now, granted, Marvin Harrison Jr. might truly be one of the best offensive players, if not the best offensive player to play for Ohio State in my lifetime. And that's with Eddie George, who won a Heisman, Troy Smith, who won a Heisman, Braxton Miller, who set all those records and all that kind of stuff, and you had Ezekiel Elliott, who might be one of the top 10 all-time college football backs. Okay, that might be putting a little too much on it, but he was damn good, you know what I mean? And Marvin Harrison might be better than all of them, right? Especially if he goes win the Heisman. God, I hope he wins the Heisman. But we look at this Ohio State team, and I think my influence on how I feel about them is then influencing how I feel about Penn State and Notre Dame because we beat them. But I go back, right? I watch those games, and I go, Penn State doesn't look very good to me. Did Notre Dame look all that good to me? Now, granted, what has Notre Dame done? They've gone out and gotten some other big wins. Maybe UFC's a bunch of phonies. It's a phony. Big fat phony. Maybe that's how it goes. But having them at 1, I was like, okay. It's not a shock. They should have been in the top 4. I frankly think they were going to be 3. But they're number 1. And we did that yesterday where we literally ran through the entire, going all the way back to 2015, the initial top 4 rankings. And what did we surmise? That usually only 2 of the 4 teams in the top 4 at the first ranking make it. So that's number 1. And number 2, to truly make the playoff, you got to be in the top 7 in the initial ranking. You had a 9, you had an 8 here and there, but really you got to be in the top 7. So now we have the official rankings. Ohio State, Georgia, Michigan, Florida State, Washington, Oregon, and Texas. Stats would tell you that your 4 teams for the college football playoff will come from that group. Not Oklahoma, not Ole Miss, not Alabama. Certainly not Penn State. Again, here I am with the Penn State slander. But if they value those wins and they value those top 25, sure, Ohio State's there. And we all know that it'll come down to the Michigan game in a couple of weeks, and if they win that, they'll be in. Great. But it was just, I don't know. I guess the strength of schedule. I guess what doesn't matter is that Georgia is a 2-time defending national champion. And I know they're not the same. You know, they're without Brock Bowers now. Is he going to come back this year, by the way? How long is he out?
I don't know.
This is from, I want to click on a reel. Here, I'll go click on a Georgia blog. I'm sure that'll help. Oh, no, this is just Todd Gurley talking about Brock Bowers. Todd Gurley said that Brock Bowers is the best player in Georgia history.
Maybe tight end.
Did he forget Herschel Walker played there, or no?
How about this headline? Joel Klatt believes the Brock Bowers injury will eventually be a blessing for Georgia.
Why? Can you please follow up on that article, please?
Yeah.
I don't want to get out. I was going to give you a take on Joel Klatt, but that's okay. As I take a sip of my coffee. I like Joel Klatt, but now I'm starting to just get drugged down. I can't stand Gus Johnson anymore. I can't do it, man. And there's this big debate about, I know that there's a giant group of people out there that love Gus Johnson. And I understand that. I respect it. I'm not one of them, man. Gus Johnson, I think at one point was an amazing play-by-play person. And the problem is that he then realized that everybody thought he was a great guy, and now he has taken it over to the top. The current Gus Johnson is a caricature of the former Gus Johnson. I love the former Gus Johnson. I just can't do the current one. So then that seeps over to Joel Klatt, who he shares a broadcast booth with.
So I guess Joel Klatt's kind of spin on it is, if in the absence of Brock Bowers, if they can still, go undefeated and then put up like 40 points or whatever, then once he comes back, they learn to win without him and score without him. So once he comes back, they'll just be exponentially better.
So this is from Sports Illustrated. They think that if Bowers is out, this is from Kyle Funderburk, that if Brock Bowers is out, that it could actually move Carson Beck's Heisman campaign up further, because then that means he's got to throw other people. And Ladd McConkey is good. Their other receiver. Like, they have other receivers that are pretty good. But, like...
Does the Heisman really care about who you have?
No.
Yeah, so, like...
No.
Yeah, exactly.
They never have. I mean, the thing is, if you ever had that where it was a debate, where Brock Bowers was also a Heisman candidate, right? Was there not a year that... When Devontae Smith won it, what year am I thinking of that Alabama had a receiver and a quarterback at the Heisman finals? It had to have been Devontae Smith, right? But then Tua was already gone. I don't know. I'm getting confused.
They had two finalists in the same year?
Oh, was it Bryce Young? I might be making that up. I might be making that up, but I feel like I remember some sort of... But
Bryce Young won, right?
Yeah, he won.
Yeah.
Heisman finalists by year. From the NCAA website. Heisman Trophy. Okay, scroll down. Bruce Smith, very good. Not that one, the other one.
Oh, it was Mac Jones.
Was it when Mac Jones won and then Devontae Smith won it?
Yes. Because the other two were Trevor Lawrence and Kyle Trask.
Sometimes it works up here. Not all the time, but I knew there was something. I knew there was a year that an Alabama receiver, because that was the whole point. How could you give it to Devontae Smith when Mac Jones is the one throwing him the football? Well, Devontae Smith was
and that's interesting. I didn't know that. 2019, Ohio State also had Fields and Chase Young as finalists.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah. I mean, that's different because that's a DN versus a quarter. Like, I'm talking about the disparity. Like, the quarterback has to throw the football to the wide receiver, right? So I think that's a little... They're putting too much sauce on that about, Bowers being out and kind of helping Carson Beck there. Did we ever get down to how long is Brock Bowers out? We all started with that, and we went on. I mean, I love the show. I love the show for that reason. We just kind of go off to everything else. So when he got injured in October, this is from October 16th, he's expected to miss 4 to 6 weeks, but others have speculated that his season is likely over, considering that he might want to get healthy and get ready to go for the draft. Did he have the tightrope surgery? He had ankle surgery. He must have had that. He is likely to miss the rest of the season for Brock Bowers there. So coming back to the college football playoff thing, okay? And this is coming off like I'm trying to discredit Ohio State at number one. I'm truly not. Okay, Georgia and Michigan, let's call it for what it is. They're the only two other teams that you should remotely consider for number one. Florida State should not be number one. So the knock on Georgia and Michigan would be, A, their strength of schedule, as I did. Number 100 in college football for Georgia, 111 for Michigan. You want to stop it right there? Okay, fine. But the question is, should Michigan's investigation matter, and should Georgia missing their best offensive player matter? My answer to the question is no and yes. I don't think the investigation should matter because until something actually happens, you have to operate like Michigan is going to make it. The sanctity of the game, if you want to say, well, we don't really know how good Michigan is. You want to know what you're going to find out? The next couple weeks, how damn good Michigan really is. I would assume that they are not stupid enough to continue to steal signs. I would imagine that that is over. So you will get a good vibe of who Michigan is. The positive on that is they didn't play anybody to start the season, and they're not going to play anybody really now until they get to Ohio State. So you'll find out who they are. So that situation will remedy itself. Now, how should the college football playoff approach an injury to a star player? Don't sit there and tell me that if Ohio State, God please no, lost Marvin Harrison, that wouldn't impact who they are. The college football committee chairman just said that part of the reason Ohio State has won is because of their offensive playmakers. That is Marvin Harrison. So maybe there's our path. Schedule is not good, and Georgia lost Brock Bowers.
Matt, so if Ohio State remain, well, obviously this is the only way, but like, they beat Michigan, so they're undefeated, so they're in. There's no way you ever kick them out of one, right? As they hold it spot.
No,
right
I think if they're undefeated on the way out, I think they're going to stay at one. The question will be, if you give credit to Ohio State for the top 25 matchup wins that they have so far, Georgia has a couple of those lined up, and Michigan does too against Penn State.
And that's what? Ole Miss, who's 10, and who?
Missouri, Ole Miss, and they have number 12 Missouri, number 10 Ole Miss, and number 17 Tennessee coming up for Georgia.
Okay. But
now you can make the case that that's not
right, because Penn State and Notre Dame are still. Well, what's Penn State right now?
11.
11, mm-hmm. And Notre Dame is what, like 15 or
something like that. But they were higher when you had them, right?
Yeah.
So there would be, and again, the polls could change, I guess. Coming up in a couple of weeks. It's interesting to me that the College Football Playoff Committee was created to have human input so they could do what they want. And you would imagine that would be what? The eye test. The infamous eye test in sports. When you sit there and you go, well, I see what I see. It's not the stats. It's not the BCS anymore. It's what I see. That is why I believe they created this committee. But then they're falling back on a strength of schedule. That was one of the marks of the BCS. I miss the BCS. I love the BCS. I loved it. And I wish I truly believe that when they go to the 12 next year, they should just bring the BCS back. Seriously. It's going to cut a lot of the bull crap. It will. They won't do it because they like control. Why did they get rid of the BCS? Because they want to have control. Because they want to be able to do what they want to do. So as much as they try to tell you that these other things don't factor in, they do. Of course they do. And I was shocked when they put TCU in last year. I was. Because I thought that they would want the power. I mean, relative from this standpoint, as long as the College Football Playoff Committee is the way that it's set up, and it's going to be different. This all goes out the window next year with the 12. But they always just shot for three powerhouses. I'm talking about fan bases. Your Michigans, your Ohio States, your Alabamas, your Clemsons to a degree, your Georgias. And then that fourth one was always kind of like, we'll throw Cincinnati in there. Well, we'll throw TCU in there. See, look, hey, we give it to the small guys. They didn't really care because they had three of the other powerhouses. When you get to 12, which, by the way, I read an article this morning about what it would look like with this ranking, our first batch of games.
If it was a 12 team?
Yeah. You want to run through it?
Yeah, real quick.
Okay. First round matchups would look like Tulane, Michigan. Okay. Penn State, Oregon.
That'd be a good game.
Ole Miss, Texas. Oklahoma, Alabama. Those would all be some of the games that you would look at.
That would be a great game.
Yeah. So that would be your first round because Ohio State, Georgia, Florida, and Washington would all get the byes. Wait.
See, that's interesting then because so you're giving the byes to just the conference winners.
Yes, because technically Ohio State would they're
right.
Going with Ohio State winning
so
the Big
that-
Ten,
yeah,
not
but-
Michigan. So Michigan as a 3 seed
Yeah, that's crazy.
would have to play in the first round.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. A sign of what's possibly to come in the expanded format. Number 3, Michigan wouldn't get a first-round bye because the Buckeyes presumably would have won the conference and would be the highest-ranked Big Ten team.
Yeah.
They should probably fix that,
Yeah.
in my opinion. They should probably fix that. But again, like that's how it's going to go, where you're going to have one crap game. But Penn State, Oregon, Ole Miss, Texas, and Oklahoma, Alabama?
I'm for those.
Especially all in the same day? Could you line that up? Here's what you'd have to do. Okay, here's how this schedule would work. You would have a noon kickoff of Tulane at Michigan because nobody would want to watch that. Your 3:30 would probably be Oklahoma, Alabama. Your 7 o'clock would have to be Ole Miss, Texas. And then your 10 o'clock would be Penn State, Oregon, because it's in Oregon.
Yeah.
That's a spicy day of college football that I'd love to have.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool.
I'd love to watch that. And we'll get there one day. All right, let's catch a break. Ryan's got the morning update. We'll get to that. I want to dive back into the Browns. Our Twitter question is up at Matt Fontana. I retweeted at Matt Fontana 83. It's at Matt Fontana Show. Did you like the Browns trade of Donovan Peoples-Jones? We already got a lot of responses in the Twitter inbox, so we'll get to that coming up. Stay with us. Big play everywhere you need to know it. Wednesday, tonight, bonus time. Bruce Drennan, Chico 12-2. I was remiss yesterday. The bald, beautiful, bold Browns. I need to get it right. And
I don't think you've ever gotten it right.
I'm not making fun of Chico and Shook because I love those guys. But it is the bald, beautiful breakdown. They have Shook and Chico.
Bald, beautiful breakdown.
That bold, bald, beautiful breakdown. I'll get it right. Chico and Shook are both bald. So they come in, they talk football for an hour. It's every Tuesday. So if you missed it, go back at the replay at Chico's show. And then last night, was this last night or Monday with Greg and Blake Williams?
I think that's Monday night.
Come get some. They talked about the A.J. McCarron trade.
Yeah, that clip went out this morning.
Yeah,
it's doing pretty damn
doing
good.
pretty well. So catch that. Everywhere you need to know it, folks. We're on Big Play. Follow us at Big Play. You'll see all the replays of all the show, and you see all the clips. It's everything you need to know. We're on live 9 to 11 every morning. Catch us on the iHeart app. Potential new streaming platforms coming for us as well, but we're on YouTube. We're on Facebook. Of course, streaming right there on Twitter as well. Everywhere you need to know it. Big Play. Check the website out, bigplay.com. Morning update comes your way next. We'll get back into the Browns. We got timeout. We'll talk Loch Ness Monster. I know Ryan's very, very excited about that as an amateur Nessie over there. Get to that coming up. Stay with us. This is Big Play. All right, back here, Matt Fontana Show. Before we get to the morning update, you know what we need to get on this show? A coffee sponsor. Because we're kind of early in the morning. Ryan enjoys his coffee. I'm drinking my coffee. We have garage beer, which we love very much. Remember, I could be on Price is Right. Yeah, man, we should get a little coffee sponsor up in here.
I would love one, man. I know Barstool has one.
Put that on the top men around here. See if we can get a coffee sponsor. Or if you're just watching and you own a coffee shop, there you go. We're in. Loot just for the coffee. All right, Ryan's got the morning update. A busy morning on a Wednesday. Some people fired, some teams win, some teams lose. Ryan, take it away with the morning update.
Alrighty, well, the Cavs didn't get their revenge quite as we hoped. They fall to the Knicks 109-91 at home, although the Cavs were again without Jared Allen and Darius Garland. Donovan Mitchell, a pretty decent day. He led the team in scoring. Are you kind of worried, Matt?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, the worry is on Garland's hamstring. So now we turn our attention for tonight, which I'm assuming you were going to bring up that we play tonight, right? It's this back-to-back. They call it the baseball series. Will Garland play tonight? Because, first off, Donovan Mitchell had some tightness in his hamstring. So he played last night. Hindsight, knowing that you got smoked, maybe we should have sat Mitchell because you knew LeVert wasn't going to play either, and then you gear up to go get a win tonight. Because now tonight, I don't know if Darius Garland is going to play, and I don't know if Karis LeVert is going to play, right? Have you seen anything on Karis LeVert this morning?
I have not.
Yeah. So my question is, should you have kept those guys out yesterday to protect tonight? I don't know, because I'm worried about tonight. The line is already 6.5. But if LeVert plays and Mitchell plays, I feel good about the Cavs covering. We'll get to our bets a little bit later. And then you don't want to rush back Darius Garland. And then, of course, Jared Allen with his bone bruise. I mean, that could take some time, man. I don't know if you ever had a bone bruise. I had one. I felt like I thought my leg was broken. Like, I thought my leg was broken. That's how bad it hurt. And I can imagine this is going to take some time. To say that I'm concerned, it is so early in the season. I mean, let's also call it for what it is. Max Strus has not really been able to back up that initial game that he had, right? Was there a stretch last night that he missed 6 straight threes? I think it was. He finished with 6 points. Let me give you Max Strus. His game log. Opens up against Brooklyn with 27. Follows up Oklahoma City with 8. 21 against Indy. And 6 against New York. He shot 54% from beyond the arc, 18%, 44, and then 14. I guess the name of the game is Streaky Strus. Is that what we need to start naming him? Yeah, that's a cringy name. I'm sorry. It's real sports radio-y. Gives a bunch of nicknames, guy. Streaky Max Strus. I need more out of him. I need better. There are already people saying that the Georges Niang acquisition, people are freaking out about that. I try not to freak out. It's 4 games. I don't like the injuries. I will tell you this, though. Donovan Mitchell is so good at basketball. God, I am so happy that he's here. I will end my statement there. I don't want to think about the future. I'm not thinking about the future. Donovan Mitchell's damn good. I'm so tempted to grab the Cavs right now because as the betting goes with basketball, that line will shift after shoot-around. Because as soon as we know who's playing and not, that line is going to move. Now, if Donovan Mitchell's out, you want to right now. If you think Donovan Mitchell's out, you want to go grab the Knicks at -6.5 right now. Because if he's out, that's going to jump. And maybe the Vegas is already starting to tell you they don't think he's going to play. And then if Darius Garland or Karis, I would hope Karis LeVert plays tonight. I don't know. I guess if you're uneasy about it, you should just walk away. But you know me, Ryan. I sit there, I hold my daughter every night. I'm going to put $10 on the game. I put $20 on the Cavs last night. Okay, sorry. Didn't work. But I'll hold off. Let's see if we get some news throughout the show. And then we'll place our bets. Tipico, use that code BIGPLAY150 and bet along with us all season long.
All right, well, here's the thing with, Niang. That sucks because realistically, I don't want to say all he's good for, but you got him for his shooting, right? So that's an issue there. Strus, yes, he's been hot.
What's he at? Well, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm going to pull up George Niang.
Yeah.
By the way, can I ask another question?
Yeah.
It's unfair of you. Is it George because there's an S on the end of it, or is it just George?
People just call him George.
Because I come from the MMA world where it's George St. Pierre because he's got an S at the end.
I don't know, but like a game like that, it's hard to take anything away because at one point, at one point our lineup was Craig Porter, Amani Bates,
who got hurt, did he not? Oh no, Ty Jerome got hurt.
Donovan Mitchell,
Monty Bates. Did you say Monty Bates was in there?
Strus and Tristan Thompson. So it's hard to take something away from that. But I mean, that third quarter is where we lost the game, right?
George
lost it. I think we missed like our first 11 shots in the third quarter.
Guess what George Niang is shooting from the field right now?
I think he went 4 for 12 yesterday. I know he went like 0 for 4 and I'm gonna say he's shooting 22%.
Damn close, 26%. 26. You can't have that.
Which you can't have that,
can't
right?
Have that.
No, and he's not kind of a liability on defense.
Well,
I mean,
yeah. I mean, the other problem is that it's screwing up JB's rotation. The full team is not there. You last night were missing 2 all-star level starters and your first guy off the bench. Of course the Cavs were going to get smoked. Of course they were. I should have known better. But I'm a Cavs fan. I'm sorry. I'm not going to put any of this on JB Bickerstaff. I think it's a tough thing. The thing is, if you believe on the over-under of 50-51 wins, right now that's off to a bit of a bad start. And if I'm talking about, I know this is 4 games in, and I'm not trying to be alarmist, but if you're trying to keep pace in the East and keep that 3 seed, wins like these matter, man.
Yeah.
I could make the case the Cavs, in part, got that 3 seed because of how well they played the first couple of months of the season last year. What do you think of the baseball series? What do you think about the home and home against these 2 teams? Which is weird because we're just in Brooklyn. Why couldn't we just play Brooklyn and the Nets or the Knicks last week?
Yeah, I don't know.
I kind of like the home and home. I'm sure the players hate it, but I think it's interesting. I kind of like it.
All right, well, I'll just end that on a high note because we like to be optimists on this show. Isaac Okoro has been a pretty good bright spot on this Cavs team. But anyway.
He needs an hour. An hour. Geez, I'm reading Chris Fedor's article about an hour before the game for Donovan Mitchell. He needs a contract. Yeah. And I think there's a level that I'm comfortable with Isaac Okoro. And I'm sure he's playing a little above that level right now. I love to see it. I like Isaac.
Already well on to the baseball world. Paul Hoynes at Cleveland.com reported that longtime third base coach Mike Sarbaugh will not return to the team's coaching staff next season.
He did not interview. Now, the question is, did he decline to interview or was he just not interviewed? Reportedly, Sandy Alomar declined to interview and will still be on the big league staff next year. That's one of those hires like, dude, it's Sandy Alomar. You're not getting rid of him. Okay, fine. Sarby is a little different where it sounded like he declined. Maybe it's just time to move on, And Sarbaugh, I was shocked because I read that Paul Hoynes article. He's been with the Guardians Cleveland organization for almost 30 years. That's insane. And I remember him when he was the manager down in Columbus. So probably on to try some new things or try some different things with Terry out. It sounds like Counsell, who was reportedly thinking about I forgot this. Craig Counsell said he might just take this year off of managing. And now he's back in for us, the Mets, and the Brewers. I would say the Guardians might be the favorite. I mean, the Brewers have the better team, but also there might be a reason that he wants to get out of there. And he's smart enough to know, as anybody with a pulse knows, do not manage the New York Mets. Stay the hell away from the New York Mets. I think they're in it. I'd love Craig Counsell here. I would. As I said yesterday, I'm pretty happy with I think this is going well. I think the Guardians managerial search is going well. You don't want to rush. I like the candidates that you have, and it sucks because they're losing Sarbaugh, they're losing their bullpen coach and their replay coordinator. I'm sure you want to have a little flexibility too with the new manager coming in. It's not like football where you bring your guys, because remember when Jim Schwartz got hired, it was kind of weird for him to be like, I'm not bringing anybody with me. Like, I'm going to hire some people, but anybody else that wants to stay can stay. And he kept a few guys, brought some new players in, or new coaches in, excuse me. I think they're leaving it open. At this point, I'm very happy with the Guardians managerial search. I am.
Alrighty, well, to keep in the baseball world, the Rangers are one step closer and one step away from getting their first World Series victory in franchise history, and it seems as though Corey Seager might be running away with that MVP.
Did you want to bring up the news that you brought up the other day? Because it happened again for Game 3. one of the lowest rated World Series games in history. Nobody's watching.
Yeah,
it's sad. It's sad. And their lack of star power. It's just a lack of star power. So, sorry. I fully admit, didn't watch a minute of it last night. Didn't watch a minute of it. I was on the Cavs. I watched the Cavs all night. Sorry. I don't know what to do. Sucks for baseball. Got to get your big teams in there. You just have to.
Alrighty, well, last bit of news here for the morning update. Our Buckeye, Chase Young, getting traded to the already pretty stacked D-line of the 49ers for a third-round pick. What do you take on that market value there for Chase Young?
Injuries. They'll burn it. And what a addition there for the 49ers. That's, again, a move like you put it over the top, right? Seattle going to get Montez puts you over the – or no, he went to Chicago. Seattle got Leonard Williams, excuse me. Chicago, notwithstanding, they're out. But like the 49ers, that puts you over the hurdle. They're like, dude, this guy, injuries, whatever. You go for it. You get it done. And it's good. Do you want to know why I had the reaction that I had? A reaction? Apparently, you know what? I really shouldn't read this without finding this out. There's a report out that the final straw was that Josh McDaniels showed up dressed as Mark Davis to the showed up for Halloween yesterday, and Mark Davis had enough. I don't know if that's true or not. I just saw it on Twitter. I have no idea if it's true or not. But that is... Because Mark Davis would be the owner that would you dress up like him to poke fun at him, and you're getting fired. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's something I just read. I know, right? It's an easy costume to do, I would assume. So that tells me quite something there, huh? I'm shooting from the hip. I really needed to. I should have vetted that a little bit more than I did before bringing it up. But nonetheless, here we are. All right, great stuff with the morning update, Ryan. Let's jump back into our Twitter question this morning. We're asking everybody, did you like the Browns trade for Donovan Peoples-Jones, trading him away? And I said initially at the beginning of the show, I didn't like it. I didn't see it as something that really benefited the team for the rest of the year. We are at 63-37. People say they don't like it. Clay tweets, I get they weren't re-signing him, but if they brought in a wide receiver of comparable talent, okay. They got a pick that won't help us this year or next. Strange move for a team in playoff contention. That's exactly how I feel, Clay. John tweets, either now or next year, I didn't think they would have paid him anyway. Spooker, nobody says, nobody's going to say that they like a sixth rounder. That's exactly my point. It's a sixth round pick. That does nothing to get me excited. Dog fan for life. Yes, because we're going to lose him anyway. Might as well get something for him. But you could have gotten 9 games more of him. I really just it had to be he was not going to fit this offense, and there was no way that they were going to find a way to get him the football, which seems crazy to me. You don't have riches on this offense. You don't have 6 wide receivers that are all really good. You're not getting the football to anybody. And I just come back to when you bring Deshaun Watson back, I certainly hope it's this weekend, but if not, it'll be next week. I hope, whatever. I really have to put that aside because it'll make me go crazy. You call me when Deshaun Watson's ready to go. When they bring back Deshaun Watson, would you not want a guy like Donovan Peoples-Jones for him to throw to? I would, I guess, counter my own point to say you have won games without throwing to him. So the Browns probably feel comfortable to say, we can win just throwing to Amari Cooper and just throwing to David Njoku when you sprinkle in Elijah Moore and the rest of the guy. There, I guess, is your case study about why the Browns didn't need Donovan Peoples-Jones. They are winning without throwing to him anyway. But I just... Because here's the other thing, right? Do you believe that Donovan Peoples-Jones, with Deshaun Watson, is capable of a 100 2-touchdown game, 100-yard 2-touchdown game? Is that not out of the realm of possibility for Donovan Peoples-Jones? Would you say that that is a possibility? Just for his talent level.
Can I hear the question again?
Could you see a game, Donovan Peoples-Jones, 100 yards and 2 touchdowns with Deshaun Watson?
No.
What?
I mean,
I don't know, Ryan.
I don't know. I feel like that's a pretty good stat line.
But he could do it, right?
I mean, I guess.
Like, it's not out of the realm of... If I said that about... I don't even... You know what I mean? Like, if I just said that about even Cedric Tillman... Okay, let me ask you this. Who's more likely to have a 100-yard, 2-touchdown game this season? Donovan Peoples-Jones or Cedric Tillman?
I mean, this season, DPJ. Yeah.
There you go. So why is DPJ on the roster? Why isn't he here? On the off chance that you could get something out of him. And at the very least... keep him on the field. Like, you could say we're winning despite throwing to Amari Cooper and David Njoku. Is there not some element then of Donovan Peoples-Jones taking coverage away from them?
Yeah.
I think they're just putting all their eggs in Cedric Tillman. Putting all their eggs in that basket. The money move, yes, Tillman's cheaper, like whatever, but I'm really kind of scratching my head a little bit about this.
Cedric was a third rounder, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And he's been battling injuries, so it's not like he's all the same or anything, but still, like, I just, for a 6th-round pick that's not going to help you here, I don't really understand. For today, another big day for the Browns just on a Wednesday practice, and we will see where Deshaun Watson is. I'm always going to be optimistic that he's at least limited in a Wednesday practice. If he is, I think that opens it up for him to play this weekend. We thought about a question for this, Ryan. Do you expect Deshaun Watson to play this weekend, or do you want Deshaun Watson to play this weekend? Because as they go back and forth on these decisions, yes, I understand that it all comes back to, can he play? Number one, can he play? Is the shoulder good enough to go? If that's aside, there's a world that you beat the Arizona Cardinals without Watson. And this is just that balancing act that I feel like we're going to do over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. Can you beat this team without Watson to give him another week of rest? My issue, and as I sit here and get angry about it, is I've been giving him weeks of rest, and there's nothing to tangibly take away from it.
Yeah.
I've been giving him weeks of rest, and he's still not back playing. So what is the point? And if he can't throw, which is, again, apparently the reason that we're in this pickle, he can't throw, then what is the point of sitting him? Or what is the point of continuing to try to play him? And I know putting him on IR does nothing. The only thing you gain is a roster spot that you don't need. You don't put him on IR. I get it. But we are just at a point now where it's push comes to shove. Dude, I need him to play this weekend. I want him to play so badly this weekend. Just to see it.
It's kind of a balancing act, right? Like we've mentioned before. Like, the good part of him playing would be to get that godforsaken word rust out.
I know you hate that word.
And if he's able to go, sure, because it would suck for his first game back to be in Baltimore against that Baltimore defense. But then at the same time, if he's hurt, like still, and he's not going to be 100%, why go play him against the Cardinals when you should easily, zero excuse, lose that game to, I'm assuming, Clayton Tune and the Cardinals.
So here's the thing. I just looked this up, and I know that there's probably pass rush win rate stats and all that kind of stuff. The Arizona Cardinals are 8th in the NFL in sacks. They have sacked the quarterback 24 times. Baltimore leads at 31. For record, the Browns have 20. So if you just want to look at that stat, Arizona can get after the quarterback. So if you're truly worried about him getting hit, then I guess you rest him. But, oh, wait, who do we play next week? The number 1 sack team in the NFL and the Baltimore Ravens. There's no point in kind of hiding it anymore. I'm pulling up Arizona because I want to see some of their grades on that D-line. So for the Arizona Cardinals, their D-line, because they run the 3-4, they rush with Dennis Gardick, Zaven Collins, who we all remember from the draft, and their D tackles aren't doing anything. Where are all these sacks coming from? Dude. And we'll do our Friday breakdown and get ready for that. This defense for the Cardinals sucks.
I wonder what their blitz rate is.
Yeah, that's a good question. Blitz rate NFL.
I'm assuming it's got to be high then.
Defensive statistics, advanced passing, rushing penalties. I can tell you right now. The Minnesota Vikings blitz the most in the NFL at 53%. The Cleveland Browns are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They are 8th in the NFL at 30% blitz rate. The Arizona Cardinals are 4th last.
Wow.
They only blitz 21% of the time. Only blitz 21% of the time. How the hell are they getting to the quarterback then? You know what I'm going to look up next? And this is probably to tell the story a little bit here. They played the Washington Commanders, the Giants, the Cowboys, the 49ers, the Bengals, the Rams, the Seahawks, and the Baltimore Ravens. Those are some decent offensive lines, I would think. Huh. So I guess that's kind of what I was like getting to of like, if you're really worried about, but that's any team. Any team can get after Watson. I think it's time to take the gloves off, man. You got to get him out there. You got to get him playing. All right, let's come back. Let's jump into Time Hop. I'll tell you what happened this day in history as we're well into November. We got, we'll get to our picks coming up. We got the bracket, and I've been teasing this Loch Ness Monster story all morning. We'll get to that coming up. It's Big Play, Matt Fontana Show. Stay with us. Back after this. All right, we're into November now. Let's jump into Time Hop. Tell you what happened this day in history. It is, of course, November 1st. We'll get to a lot more things. Matt Fontana Show, welcome back. Start out 3 years ago today, the Browns fall to the Raiders 16-6. You remember this game, Ryan? Because that was one that Jarvis Landry dropped the pass in the end zone that looked like he caught it, and then Hunter Renfrow caught a touchdown that looked like he didn't catch it. You remember that? I remember that game. And the Browns fall 16-6. Landry had it. He kind of bobbled it, but it looked like he caught it. Renfrow caught it, and it hit the ground. It looked like he didn't control it. They called it a touchdown. People were pissed off. The game was played in just horrible conditions in the snow and the rain. I remember that this day, 2020. This day, 2016, World Series game number 6. Cubs get the win 9-3 over the Cleveland Indians this day 2016. Should have the box score pulled up. Hang on, give me 1 second here. 9-3 for the Guardians. They were held to 6 hits, 3 runs. Josh Tomlin gave up 6 runs in 2 1/3 innings to pretty much hand that game to the Cubs this day 2016. This day 2015, the Browns fall to the Cardinals 34-20. The Browns had a 20-7 lead at halftime, and they choked it away this day 2015. Your box score from that game. Josh McCown was your leading rusher with 18 yards.
Nice.
Isaiah Crowell had 14 yards. Johnny Manziel played in that game. McCown went 18-34 for 211 and 3 touchdowns. Carson Palmer brought the Cards back with 4 touchdowns. They scored 24 unanswered points in the second half to go get a win. Remember Chris Johnson, the running back? Had 109 yards in that game. Michael Floyd was the leading receiver for the Cardinals this day 2015. This day 1999, the Indians hired Charlie Manuel as their manager. Okay, I guess. Everybody loved Charlie to a point. Not quite Grover, but it is what it is. This day 1966, the NFL awarded to the New Orleans Saints, and they awarded them on All Saints Day. So do you know that today is All Saints Day?
I do now.
Day after Halloween. And they awarded New Orleans the Saints this day on All Saints Day, so that's why they're named the Saints. This day, 1964, Jim Brown became the first player to rush for 10,000 yards. He had 149 yards in the Browns' 30-17 win over the Pittsburgh Steelers. Also a Jim Brown stat from history. This day, 1959, Jim Brown had 5 rushing touchdowns. The Browns beat the Baltimore Colts 38-13. This day, 1512, the Sistine Chapel opens to the public for the first time. True or false? I've seen the Sistine Chapel.
True.
I have been to the Sistine Chapel. My wife took illegal pictures of the Sistine Chapel. So you walk in. It's obviously in the Vatican. Or no, it's not in the Vatican. It's like an offshoot. I can't even remember where it was at. It's like you walk in, you go on this tour, right? So we go to Italy for our honeymoon, right? And of course, you got to pay money for the Vatican tour. It's just, went to a couple cities, saw the Colosseum, whatever. So one of the tours was to go to the Sistine Chapel. And it's never quite as easy as just to go into the Sistine Chapel. You go down all these hallways, and you're looking at this artwork that's thousands of years old and all that other kind of stuff. So you get to the Sistine Chapel, and it looks like a regular church. There's only seats, though. Imagine a rectangle, but there's only seats on the wall. Okay, so there's no seats in the middle of the Sistine Chapel. So you walk in on one end of this rectangle, on this tiny door. It is a sea of people. They cram as many people in as they can. So on these tours, you are a part of a group, and it's usually, I think it was color-coded. So like you're in the pink striped group, and your tour guide would walk through with a little stick up in the air with a a pink striped bow on it, and you were meant to follow. But you're in this sea of people. You can't even move. Everyone's next to you. And the whole point is to do what? Look up at the Sistine Chapel, because Michelangelo painted the ceiling. So my wife had her cell phone, because they scream at you when you walk in, don't take any pictures. So she had her phone up her sleeve, and she kind of slid it down her hand and took a couple quick pictures. Here's the other thing if you ever go to the Sistine Chapel. You have these guards, Italian guards, and the whole time they are just screaming, "Silence! Silenzio!" The whole time. It's like the Jeff Dunham skit with that one little puppet that he got. He always screams, "Silence! I kill you!" They didn't scream the second part. They just scream, "Silence! Silenzio!" the whole time. Because apparently if people are talking, the vibrations or it'll hurt the painting. Yeah. That's what they told us. So you had to walk in there, and dude, they were screaming it incessantly to be quiet and no pictures. Oh, I snagged a quick one. So if you ever go to the Sistine... Okay, so you walk into one corner. You're just in this sea of people, and you just stand up and you just look at the Sistine Chapel. They're screaming at you to be quiet the whole time. And then eventually, you need to migrate your way to the other side of the room to go out of this other door. Again, I don't assume they made the Sistine Chapel knowing that thousands of people a day were going to walk through on tours. There's one door in and there's one door out, and that's it. And your tour guide, who has to be quiet the whole time, like if you don't follow them out and you try to hang back, they'll throw you off the tour. They will tell you, leave and find your own way out of here. Because you're on a bus trip too. You had to leave too. I think that was the day we went to the Vatican. I can't remember. But anyway, they just scream at you the whole time. And you are just this close to like other people, you just got to weasel your way out. So if you ever go to the Sistine Chapel, it's pretty cool. Pretty cool. But not all that, I guess. A very happy birthday goes out to the legendary Gary Player, former Indians outfielder Coco Crisp, Anthony Kiedis of Red Hot Chili Peppers fame, and Lyle Lovett, who famously somehow married Julia Roberts for a little bit. So shout out to Lyle Lovett there on his birthday today. I threw this on you, Ryan. Are you able to pull up that Greg and Blake clip?
Let me see if I can work some magic.
So Greg and Blake Williams, because it went out this morning from Come Get Some. It's one of our newest shows here at Big Play. And you can go follow them at Come Get Some Show. What? Can I ask a question? Why do they have the badge and we don't? They have the gold circle and the big play badge.
I think all the weekly shows have that, but not the daily one.
Why not?
I don't know.
I have a problem. Should I text Nick about that?
Yeah.
Text him right now. I feel bad throwing it on him there. But they had a clip because obviously Greg and Blake, being former coaches here, they have a lot of insight. And they talked about the A.J. McCarron trade. Can you just pull it up on their Twitter? Yeah, just go to their Twitter and just pull it up. That's all I need. Come Get Some Show. Greg and Blake Williams. There's the clip right there. Can you play that?
I don't know. Let's find out.
All right.
They should. Yeah. Oh, I can get the sound.
Yeah, I just want the sound. I just want the sound.
The trade deadline fiasco with A.J. McCarron during the 17 season.
Well, I will tell you this. It's really the only time that I've sincerely seen a pissed off Jimmy Haslam, because he was hot. Okay,
And
on
D.
how what?
Truly the only time I've seen D hot. Dude.
And same
Yeah.
thing. I've never seen both of them be that way, but we managed to figure a way out not to finish that trade. Why don't you talk about it a little bit more?
Yeah, I mean, everything the viewers have heard out there, I mean, is true. It happened. And I've kind of talked about this before, which is all parties were correct. But there's only one party that can truly be correct, and that's the person who owns the team, who owns the business and is paying everybody's check, and you do what they say when they say it.
Period.
Was the coaching side correct that, hey, the quarterback room that we were in at the time was not what you should be running a bunch of other 52 grown men out to risk their careers and livelihoods playing behind? Yeah, probably true. Was the front office's standpoint of hey, this is too much to give up for a player that's not going to be in the cards for us going forward anyways, and if anything, may just improve us enough to miss out on the franchise quarterback that we want, and whatnot, by not getting the number one pick or whatever it may be the following year, and that's too much to give up for that. Like, was that right? Like, all those things in a vacuum? Yes. But the people that were really right was, hey, when we walk out of here and we sit in this room, like, all discussions, all arguments stop. And when we say, do this, you do it. And, because you don't own the team. And so the people that were truly right in that, were D and Jimmy. And I think they made their points known on what happened, with some of the people from that standpoint.
So that was Greg. I always do that. Greg and Blake Williams, former Browns interim head coach, defensive coordinator. Blake was on the defensive side. So Ryan, listen to that clip, which you can go back and watch the whole show. Come get some. That clip is up there on their Twitter handle as well. So the Haslams wanted that trade to happen, right? Why else would they be upset? Is that not what I'm reading of this? And that's why Sashi Brown got fired? Like, it's revisionist history. I just think it's an interesting story around the trade deadline for those guys to bring it up. And obviously they were in there. But to listen through that, so again, it was Hugh Jackson knew we needed a better quarterback. They wanted to go trade a 2 for A.J. McCarron. Sashi Brown didn't want to trade for him for the reasons that Blake laid out. He's going to screw up our future number 1 pick. He's only going to improve this team a little bit, and we're not giving up a second-round pick. But then also, the Haslams, so then when Sashi didn't send the fax in, and they didn't trade for A.J. McCarron, that's when the Haslams were upset. Am I reading that wrong? I think that's what they're saying there.
Sounds like it.
Kind of, I guess, what we all knew at the time. And it worked. I mean, you got Baker Mayfield, for better or for worse. But obviously, it wasn't on Hugh Jackson. He still had a job after that. It was Sashi Brown that got fired. Huh. I just thought it was interesting because it's starting to make, like, we sent that clip out this morning right before our show. And it's getting circulated around now. That's going to get picked up, I think. It's going to get picked up a little bit there. So, again, follow at Big Plays on Twitter for everything that they need, but also just for the fact of Come Get Some is their own show there with Blake and Greg Williams. So, can't beat that insight, man. Guys that were here. So, they do it Monday nights at 7. So, Monday nights we have Reflog and the Come Get Some show. So, we got everything going for it right here on Big Play. Big stuff there. All right, you ready for this Loch Ness Monster story?
Let's do it.
All right. So I saw this yesterday. I meant to bring it up, but today's as good as day as any. That apparently sightings of the Loch Ness Monster are up at an alarming rate recently. Amid a flurry of Nessie sightings, one Loch Ness Monster hunter claims he spotted the genuine artifact, and it was as big as a double-decker bus. Because, of course, they're in the United Kingdom, so they have to use that as their measurement stick there. The sighting was reported on October 7th, but it was just reported to the official Loch Ness Monster Sightings Register. So there is I'm assuming a group of people that run the Loch Ness Monster Sighting Register, where they write down all these sightings. Sash Lake, probably a good name for it, is a Nessie obsessive person who I guess is out there. How do you get that job, by the way? Is that a paying job to be a Loch Ness Monster enthusiast? He had reportedly been leaving the body of water around noon when it started to rain and a light fog rolled in. The sightseer explained, his vision and view was partially limited, which is always the case when it comes to these. But something caught my eye for approximately 5 seconds and made me jump out of my skin. I saw a huge black mass or hump in the middle of the lake, roughly the size of a double-decker bus. I would say it was about 75 to 100 yards away from me. Unfortunately, as is the case with many of these sightings, the encounter with the beast was fleeting. Following the sighting, he said he reportedly jumped to his feet to get a better look, but the trees obscured his view for several seconds, and then there was nothing there. Well, of course, because Nessie is a master of illusion, a master of hiding, or they would have caught her by now, right?
Oh, absolutely. And that's in Scotland, right?
Yes. Apparently, they've had 8 different sightings over the last couple of months. Again, unverified sightings to the Loch Ness Monster Sighting Register over the last, like I said, they've had 8 sightings in the last couple of months. So she must be getting active. She must be trying to, get fat for the winter or something like that.
Maybe we need to do one of our brackets like mythological creatures, like Bigfoot.
Bigfoot, do you believe in the
Loch Ness
abominable
Monster,
snowman,
the
the
Yeti,
chupacabra, the New Jersey devil?
Yeah.
Bessie, right outside here in the lake, possibly. Who knows?
That's my new favorite sound.
That's your new favorite sound for our conspiracy theories here on the show. You see the new Bigfoot video that came out?
So
a couple weeks ago?
Are you talking about the one on the train?
Yeah, the train, and he just walks and he just sits down.
People in the comments said that the dude who owns that land is like a troll, and he dresses up purposely.
Oh, he purposely does it?
Yeah, so that's what they say, but who knows?
You never know, man. I guess I feel bad. Like, I don't want to, because the Loch Ness Monster would be the one. Here's the question of all those mythological creatures, which one do you wish was actually true? Abominable Snowman sounds cool. I don't know why. And that might be the most believable because that's, the furthest, like, who actually is, like, searching the Arctic for that kind of stuff. Bigfoot, because you need multiple big feet. And all these enthusiasts will tell you, they come up with all these reasons about why you don't find dead ones. They eat them or they bury them. Or why don't you ever find their poop anywhere? Well, they bury it. All that other kind of stuff. Nessie, they've actually like scanned the lake and they're like, there's nothing that big in the lake. I will tell you that. They also, to discredit it, which pains me to say, they basically said there's not enough fish in that lake for a creature of that size to eat that much. So I'm kind of sad to shoot it down. Are you looking up a list of all the mythological creatures?
Yeah, we got angels, demons, dragons, pixies, ghosts, harpies.
No. Those are different. Those are like those are ghosts and that kind of. I think that's different than like, again, creatures that you feel like you see. Like again, Bigfoot, Loch Ness Monster, Lake Erie Monster. That's probably pretty much it, right? I guess that'd be a really short bracket.
Oh, here I think this might.
You got a list?
Yeah.
Yeti. I guess it's kind of the same thing.
Abominable Snowman.
Okay.
Sasquatch.
Yeah,
Bigfoot,
same thing. Same thing.
What about Leviathans?
The hell is that?
It's like
In like a whale.
It's like a giant. Yeah, it's in the water. It's almost like a dragon type fish.
See, like a fish.
Yeah.
Or I don't know why I thought in my head. Have you seen the movie The Meg with Jason Statham?
No,
Where, like the megalodon is still alive. It's just all the way down, like in the bottom of the ocean or something like that. That is stuff I don't want to think about because I'll never step foot in the water. I'll never step foot in the ocean again. Loch Ness. I don't have to worry about it. I'm not going swimming in the Loch Ness. I guess I go swimming in Lake Erie, and Bessie's there. I'd imagine she's just kind of a cool chick, though. She just let us go, right?
Yeah, she seems. I feel like she'd be nice.
Seems fine.
She'd be nice.
She has a hockey team named after her. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. The Louisiana swamp ape, the Canadian nuke luke, the Missouri Momo.
The New Jersey Devil's a trippy one. You ever see a picture of the New Jersey Devil?
I think I have, but it's been a while.
Yeah. Not like the hockey team. Again, it all comes back to hockey teams in a way. Not the hockey team, like the actual New Jersey Devil. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. That's the picture right there.
Ooh.
Can you pull that up? Can you put that up on the screen real quick?
For sure.
Put that up on the screen. Yeah. Look at that thing. That's pretty wicked, man. Artist rendering, by the way.
It's like a mix
Not
of
an
like
actual photo, an artist rendering there.
A bat with the wings,
the hoofs. Yeah, it's crazy, man.
The goat, or the bull, like that's the
horn,
ram.
the ram heads.
Yeah.
Kind of crazy, man. The New Jersey Devil. That's where they got their name from. Very crazy. Yeah.
So maybe one day.
Maybe one day. Loch Ness is up though. The sightings are up, and it, of course, is as big as a double-decker bus. Is what somebody said. All right, let's get to our bets tonight for Tipico. Use that code BigPlay150 when you get signed up. You get the free bonus bets. Download the app. Use that code BigPlay150 when you sign up, and you get the bonus bets. You get $150 in bonus bets. You get that $30 dog pound bet futures bet, and you can bet with us all season long right here on Tipico. And we start with the Cavs tonight. So I've got it at 6.5, but we have no new news on Darius Garland, Karis LeVert, or frankly, Donovan Mitchell. Right, Ryan? We should be worried about that.
Yeah.
So I'm saying. NBA. All right, what we got? Cavs, Knicks, 6.5. Over-under is a low 211. I don't see any boosts yet. I think it's hard because, they just don't know who's going to play or not. Let me see. I can find you a boost here. Hang on. Let me get you a boost here. Logging in. Okay, we're in home. I want to go to the home page. Here we are. All right, boosts. I got baseball tonight. Zach Gallen, 6 strikeouts on the Diamondbacks to win plus 440. You like that one or not?
Nope.
Yeah, we don't have a Cavs boost for tonight yet. Another baseball one is Corey Seager to hit a home run plus 440. What's it been? 3 straight games he's hit a home run or something like that? Pretty good. You want some action for tonight? Bowling Green, Kent, and Akron all to score 20-plus points, plus 500 tonight for a little action there. What do you like? Any of it? None of it? Those are just the boosts. You can just play the regular one then if you're interested.
I'll take every Maction boost there is.
Akron -4.5 against Kent, and Bowling Green -4.5 against Ball State. That is boosted to plus 263. I'll rock that. I'll put a 10 spot on that. No, not $1. Sorry. Well, I have $1 on it now, but I'm going to place another $20 bet on that. Or $10. What did I say? 10. Payout, $36. Boom. Tipico. Get your app. Get signed up there. Baseball for tonight. I'm going to roll with the Rangers just to finish it out, I guess. It's in the desert. Maybe Diamondbacks. I don't know. I really don't feel it. What do you think, Ryan?
I'll just go with the Rangers.
All right. To the Cavs for tonight. Again, I'm going to take all these games with a grain of salt if these guys aren't going to play. But even if they do, or even if they don't, it's still so early. And I don't want to get all tied up. I don't want to get all worried knowing that the rotations are thrown off. JB's got to piece it together. And they're missing some of their best players. Like, they are truly missing some of their best players for their game. And you know the Knicks, they got this little rivalry going with the Cavs tonight. I gut feeling I'm going to take the Cavs plus 6.5. I don't like it, but I will take the Cavs and ride with them tonight. Ryan, place your bet.
I'll roll with the Knicks.
Yeah. Yeah. I hate it. I don't like it. We'll have to see, though. We'll have to see who plays tonight. Kirk Cousins' surgery is done, so he's out for the year. That's just news coming up to catch up as we're ending the show. Raiders have also fired their offensive coordinator. So they're making moves out there. And no news on the Browns. I think the rest of the afternoon, we'll see if Deshaun Watson practices today. Wednesday's always a big day on the side for the Browns, so we'll see exactly if he practices, if he's limited or not. We'll figure all that out. Ryan, let's wrap up our show, as always, with our bracket of the week. We are doing your favorite streaming service, Netflix, and I'm very happy to say HBO Max advance with Peacock and Amazon Prime going home tonight. Hulu versus Paramount Plus, and Disney Plus versus Apple TV.
That group 3 will be probably the closest match here.
I would probably go Apple TV, and I don't have Paramount Plus, but I have Hulu's. I feel like Paramount Plus has got a lot of good stuff on it.
Yeah, I know Disney Plus, because it's got all the Marvel movies and whatnot, so that gives it a big boost.
I would imagine I would vote Apple, but I think Disney Plus is going to take it down. Because the new wave, and it's funny to bring this up and kind of look at it now, the new wave is all the live sports. Like, there are baseball games you can only get on Apple Plus. Like, there are basketball games that are on HBO Max.
Yeah.
Isn't there a football game coming? Oh, yeah, they have a playoff game. They have a playoff game that's going to be on Peacock. Like, you have to be signed up for Peacock to watch one of the playoff games.
That's crazy.
Isn't it? And I mean, I'm on Peacock because they had some deals like 6 months for like $12 or something like that. And what happens is you sign up and then they just hope that you forget. And then keep the reoccurring payment going and stuff like that. It's all a scam. It's all a racket. I don't know what to tell you. I'm going to say Disney Plus and Hulu will advance there. So we'll have a finals of Netflix,
I agree.
HBO Max, Hulu, and Disney Plus. So go vote at Matt Fontana Show. It is our bracket of the week. We do it each and every week right here on the show. Don't go anywhere. Chico's coming up 12-2, so we'll have a lot of coverage there. Bruce Drennan will be in. He's got bonus time tonight. And then we got Booby's World. I think, tomorrow? I'm assuming with Daniel and Rafa, because Rafa's on the road, so it's got to have to be tomorrow.
Well, so yeah, that show's kind of like obviously. So I believe actually the next one is scheduled for Monday night.
Oh, okay, so we had a little time there. So Booby's World, don't forget about that. Replay Josh and Maria Cribs last night. I saw Maria all dressed up for Halloween. Again, Chico's show. Come get some. Blake and Greg, Reflog. It's everywhere you needed to know, folks. Right here on Big Play. Follow them on Twitter at Big Play. We're at Matt Fontana Show. Everything that you need to know. Great stuff today. Appreciate everybody joining us. For Ryan Tyler, I am Matt Fontana, and as always, take it easy.